You ever wonder why the wealthiest people seem to have the ugliest divorces? I used to think that if you had millions, or even billions, splitting up would be easy. There's more than enough to go around, right? Everyone walks away rich and you keep your dignity. Simple. But when I first spoke to a divorce lawyer, she told me something that totally shattered that idea. The richer my clients are, the nastier the divorce. And since then, I've talked to even more lawyers. Same story over and over again. So why do the wealthiest people, the ones who could literally afford peace, choose war instead? Let's talk about the dirty secrets behind rich people's divorces. The psychology, the power plays, the manipulation, and what it means for the rest of us. First, let's look at the who. Money by itself doesn't cause conflict, but when you mix it with certain personality traits, you've got a Molotov cocktail. We're talking narcissism, psychopathy, a craving for control. Multiple studies have shown that the wealthier someone is, the more likely they are to display narcissistic or manipulative traits. When you think about it, that makes sense. Those traits can actually help you succeed in high-level business. But they're terrifying in a divorce. To someone with those traits, control is their identity. Losing it feels like disintegration, a collapse of ego that feels like psychological death. Divorce becomes a threat to their very sense of power, and they will fight like hell to keep it. Now let's look at the means. Here's where the money comes in. When you've got millions in assets, houses, businesses, jets, trust funds, it's no longer just about splitting things up. It becomes strategy, it becomes war. The ultra-rich can weaponize their wealth. They can hide money in shell companies, offshore accounts, delay proceedings for years, manipulate valuations, outspend their ex into exhaustion. And time becomes a weapon too. Drag things out long enough, and the other person might run out of money, or energy, or the will to keep fighting. I've seen this firsthand. And believe me, it's not some exaggerated soap opera plot. This is real and it's devastating. Let's talk about another phenomenon that often shows up during high-net-worth divorces, the myth of the lazy wife. It pops up all the time as a consequence of an unequal earning dynamic. Usually one partner made most of the money, and they believe they should walk away with most of it too. Cue the classic lines. She didn't earn a cent. She was just a mom. She lived off of me. But in the majority of the cases, in reality, that so-called lazy wife was running the whole damn show behind the scenes. She was the CFO, COO, HR manager, emotional laborer, nanny, nutritionist, travel agent, social secretary, and interior designer, without a salary, without recognition, and without legal protection. She kept the trains running while he built empires. She made sure the kids were fed, schooled, immunized, and safe. She organized the moves, the renovations, the doctor appointments, the mortgage paperwork, the holiday plans, and his mother's 70th birthday. She was responsible for creating a life, not just an income. Without her unpaid labor, he would likely never have reached the levels of success that now give him the arrogance to claim she deserves nothing. But in divorce court, that work is ridiculed, dismissed, or labeled as lifestyle. It becomes an inconvenient footnote next to a man's financial empire. It's insulting, and it's incredibly common. Now let's get into mindset. High-conflict individuals among the wealthy excel in dirty divorces. They've trained for it their entire lives. In business, competitors are to be outwitted, outmaneuvered, and eliminated. That mindset doesn't switch off in court. They don't see their ex as a former partner. They see them as a threat, an obstacle, a hostile acquisition target. According to clinical psychologists, narcissists and psychopaths don't see others as people with feelings, especially when their ego's on the line. So divorce becomes another power game, and the legal system actually makes it easier for them. The richer spouse often has better lawyers, more time, more tricks. The system itself ends up favoring the one with money and power. So, what does all this mean for you and me? Well, even if we're not dealing with yachts and art collections, the patterns are similar. The manipulation, the financial games, the emotional warfare. It's all there, just on a smaller scale. And because we live in a culture that idolizes the rich, these behaviors trickle down. We start copying the worst of their habits, trying to win the breakup instead of healing from it. History is littered with the wreckage of love turned hostile. From Cleopatra and Mark Antony to Henry VIII and his many unfortunate wives, power and love have always had a complicated relationship. Divorce, especially among the powerful, often reveals more about us than marriage ever could. It strips away illusion, ego, and performance, and what's left is often ugly. But it also offers a strange form of truth. We are capable of both immense cruelty and profound resilience. In the end, divorce is a mirror. If you're going through something like this, if you're up against someone manipulative, powerful, maybe even narcissistic, listen closely. You will come out the other side, maybe not richer, maybe not vindicated, but stronger, clearer, and finally free. The wealthy may play dirty. They may try to crush you with money, silence, and fear. But what they often lack, what they can't buy, is humility, growth, and healing. And those are the real treasures. And as a bonus, you might be able to witness a real narcissistic ego collapse. If things don't go their way, a narcissistic ex can produce a courtroom meltdown worthy of its own documentary. I was privy to such events, and they are quite mind-blowing. Not to mention, they tend to backfire spectacularly. So sit back, stay sane, and let karma do her thing. You've got the best seat in the house. If you found this helpful or eye-opening, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And let me know in the comments, have you seen this dynamic play out? Whether you've lived it, witnessed it, or just been curious, I want to hear your story. Thanks for watching. Remember, peace is priceless, and no amount of money should cost you yours.